I'm Fletcher Brown with another artist video blog, Kicks96country.com. Our guest today, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Please welcome for his very first visit ever to Kicks 96, Robby Johnson. How are you,
Hey,
Robby?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here.
All right, now, Robby, you've got brand new music.
Yes.
June and July. We're gonna get to. We'll talk about the single in just a minute. But right now, I want to introduce my listening audience to you. So,
Okay.
we're gonna want to learn a little bit about Robby Johnson, about where you're from and how you started. And there's a bunch of interesting stuff about his career so far that we're gonna get into. But let's talk about where you grew up.
Okay, so I grew up in Quebec, Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and then what happened is that my grandparents were born in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
had children, and then they moved to Hartford, Connecticut. But
Oh.
so my aunts, uncles, they all live in Hartford, Connecticut. But my mom had started her family in Quebec, so we stayed behind.
Oh, wow.
But every summer I would spend in Hartford, Connecticut on Putnam Street, and also Christmas vacation. Every time we had a long weekend or something, we would be with relatives.
Well,
My
what's the
godmother and all that in Hartford.
what's the difference between? I mean, like Quebec and Hartford, Connecticut. Is it night and day? I mean, is it like
Yeah,
these?
well, I mean, in Quebec, we parle français. We
Yeah,
speak
okay.
French.
Yeah, that fair enough. They
That's
probably
it.
don't speak a lot of French in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, there was a little French. There was a little
Little?
French community. Yeah, there was a little French community. But yeah, it's totally different. I mean, television, everything, the music on the radio, it's totally different things. Yes, you have the big hits,
Mm-hmm.
but it's mostly French speaking artists and all that. And I just fell in love, with American culture,
No.
the movies, the music. I was practically raised by the sitcoms. I would watch
Which
all the
decade?
sitcoms. I started, I would say, with Growing Pains,
Okay.
and then
So like
Full House,
mid to late '80s, early '90s.
Cosby.
We were all raised by those. Right. It's
Oh
fair.
yeah, I was, don't steal, don't lie. They had
Mhm.
great values in there, and
Mhm.
it raised me in the Superman. You want to be Superman and
Mhm.
all that. So, and me, coming to Nashville, it was a way for me to say, hey, thank you, and I want to give back.
Okay. Well,
That's what I want to do. I
what
want to give back.
at what point in your life, between Quebec and Connecticut, did your compass point you towards country music to Nashville?
So it started, always loved country music,
Mm-hmm.
but you're young, you love it, you listen to it, but it doesn't resonate as much into you because you haven't lived enough, to fully
Mm-hmm.
understand what it's about and how much you can relate to it. So it was later on, it's funny, I was with my cousin in Hartford,
Mm-hmm.
and he played some Garth Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God, this guy is talking directly to me. He's like, hey, buddy, listen, I got something for you here, and you are special. And that's how he makes you feel.
Actually, Garth, if you ever meet Garth, then that's actually true. It's like he makes
Yes.
you feel exactly like that.
Exactly. And I met him in person at
Mhm.
50th CMA Awards. I had the opportunity to meet him and shake his hand, and he held on to my hand for 2 minutes.
Yeah, he'll
And
do
he
that.
He took his hat off because
Mhm.
he's such a gentleman,
Mhm.
and he was really interested. It wasn't, you want me to sign something? No, it was, hey man, yeah, oh great. And I was telling him why I made the move to Nashville. He's an inspiration
Mhm.
and all that. So it was so great, and he wanted to know, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay in Nashville? How's it going? And all that. I was like, well, I do need a new car. No, just
Yeah.
kidding.
Well,
No,
I mean,
but
Garth kind of comes off like everybody's cool uncle.
yeah.
He really does.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he really does.
he's amazing,
Mhm.
And he just went, hey, come on, guy, and hang in there, and
Mhm.
it's gonna work out, and
Mhm.
be
Very
persistent.
positive.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, very positive guy, and it was so crazy. So that's what really you know brought me to country music, where I rediscovered, I would say, country music with
Mhm.
Garth, where it's like, oh wait a minute, this is my life. This is it's I can relate to this, and he made me feel special. And being my parents divorced, I was 5, and I didn't
Mhm.
have my father quite abandoned us, not financially, but emotionally. He was absent. He was in other city, started a new family we didn't even know about, and got remarried we never knew. And so and Garth was kind of filling that void of, hey man, you're special.
Yeah.
where
I
it's
get
a
it.
it's a male figure,
Hmm.
showing you that love. So it was yeah, and then it's actually someone people just passed the hat and they bought me a Christmas. My wife and mother-in-law and father-in-law, everybody, my brother and all that. They just got money together and they bought me a session in a studio, a Christmas gift
Oh,
to
wow.
track one of my demos.
Hmm.
And that's how it started because I would sing all the time, write songs. I'm a very creative guy, but I was sales rep on the road,
Hmm.
selling industrial products. I wasn't an artist. I'm not an artist. I'm not a singer. But then they're like, no, you're not happy. And
Hmm.
it's clear you're not happy. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And here's this Christmas gift and go try it out.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful, man.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But to me, back then, it was the worst Christmas gift ever. I'm like, no, okay. Oh, this is so
It's like one you open up,
cool.
you're like, oh, thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Oh, wow,
exactly
this
that.
is
There's a
so
video of
sweet.
that. But I go in the studio and I start singing this I'll Be There rockin' and rollin',
Okay.
a country rock song. And they're like, "Man, there's something here. You should move to Nashville." I
Hmm.
mean, really, there's something. And it just started like that, started doing some trips back and forth. And at one point I'm like, "Okay, let's commit and let's do it." So 10 years ago, I moved to Nashville.
Wow. And in that now, in that time, you've actually done quite a bit, career wise. I mean, you've been on tour support for some pretty big names. You've been on TV on Letterman.
Yes, I still don't believe it. That was pretty insane to
Hmm.
be presented by, David Letterman saying, "All right, Robby Johnson." It's like, my God, I watched that show
Yeah.
so many times, never even ever thinking I
Hmm.
would be in the Ed Sullivan Theater. I mean, that's it's pretty big. And yes, I got to Nashville and I was a sales rep on the road.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit,
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
Come on. And they're like, "Robbie, it doesn't work that way. It's a process." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Why? Why are you building these walls in front of me? I want to be on the radio now." And
Yeah.
why not? If I
Hmm.
have a good song. And so we worked on a project and we released the single South of Me and it just went viral on
Hmm.
YouTube. And then I got the Late Show, my first ever press release. I got the Late Show booked with that and had my song playing on country radio, which
Hmm.
wasn't supposed to play
It's a
on
good
country
song.
radio. Yeah,
Yeah,
South of
radio. I
Me,
mean, country
yeah.
radio. We'll play good songs. Good
Yeah,
songs.
and the music video was doing great and yeah, it was a lot, from being a sales rep on the road to then, your first late night show.
With
You're not,
Letterman, no less.
yeah, not local TV,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, you're not on like, this isn't public access television. This isn't Wayne's World. I
yeah.
mean, you're on Letterman.
I would have loved to be on Wayne's World.
Yeah, I would have. I'll be honest with you, I would have too.
Oh yeah, I would
All right,
totally
so
do
now,
that.
have you've always been a songwriter? So like Robby Johnson, like when you put your albums together, these are all Robby Johnson songs, or do you, since being in Nashville, do you
Yeah.
get to work with songwriters whose
Yeah,
songs you'll sometimes cherry
okay.
pick?
So my initial projects was all co-writes, where I would just sit in a room and just watch them do their
Yeah.
do their magic, and just chime in and say, "Oh, maybe we could say this," and then just learning how to do it. I had written songs before, but they were just okay songs, I guess, and they just needed that little bit more love and craft and knowledge. And so that's how I started. I also cut some exterior songs on my Don't Look Back album. I have some songs from Shane McNally,
Mm-hmm.
Luke Laird,
Oh
Ashley
yeah.
Gorley, Sam
Oh
Hunt,
man, these are
Chris
big names.
Young.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. But nowadays, since COVID, I started really writing by myself.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm writing my own songs, but I do have my producer Danny Rader, amazing guy, so much talent. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. It's yeah. And we sit down together, we go over the songs, and he will help me make some tweaks and here and there. So he's a co-writer. And like June and July, it's really a co-write we did. I started the song, the chorus, but we sat down and we finished the song together. And but I like writing my own stuff.
Okay. Well, let's talk about June and July. June
Yes.
in July.
Yes.
Interesting title. All right. You're not saying Christmas in July. You're talking like these are like 2 months apart. You see the title of your song, you're like, okay, what could this be about? And it's actually a very sweet song. Would you give us a breakdown of June and July? Now, is this one that you wrote, or is this correct?
Oh,
You
so,
said
so
with-
this is the one that I started with
Yes.
the chorus, and like, oh, I like this June and July thing, and it was cool. And I finished the song with Danny, and so the song is about thinking back your first time, first taste of love,
Mhm.
and for me it was in summer. And it's funny because I start the song, I finish it with Danny. We were like, oh, this is good. Let's do a real, let's do a real cut of this song. So we cut the song, we track, we do all that, and then I'm like, oh, let's I'm gonna do a music video. So I do a music video, and I'm on the set, and I'm watching what's happening. I'm like, oh my God, this song is about me. There's a lot of me in there, and I didn't realize it until on the set where, oh, her putting perfume on something for me to remember, it happened to me. And she was an out of towner. It
Mhm.
was in July, but her name wasn't June. Don't try and go look it up on social media. And I don't.
You
I
won't
say where
find
she-
her.
No,
You
I
won't
won't say
find
where
her.
she's from, because yeah. And so it was kind of crazy to realize after, oh, it's about me. Because oftentimes when I write, I just let it out.
Yeah.
So it comes from inside.
Mhm.
But I don't question it. I just, okay, just get inspired and just let the
Mhm.
words out. And sometimes you have surprises where you're like, oh, okay, that's what I wanted to say.
All right. Well, since you've got this you got this good storied career, but you also have this great sort of cultural, I don't know if this is the right word, cultural fallback, being from Quebec. And one of the things that I find interesting when you have an artist that has a cultural connection beyond the American, especially artists like with Hispanic backgrounds, almost
Yeah.
always will include at some point in their career either an album or at least a song in like that native language. Do you ever play with the French? You ever maybe do
I
anything
did
in French?
release a French album.
You did?
Yes.
Oh,
full
I didn't
album.
know. This is new.
Yeah.
This is new information for me. Okay, I
Yeah,
want to hear this.
I did release a French album that has one song in English.
Really?
Yeah, but and the songs have some words here and there in English, like in the choruses But yeah, I did release an album in French.
Okay, what was the name of that album?
Comment j'oublie.
All right, I have no idea what you
Oh
just
no,
said.
that's a single. Sorry. The name of the album is Jusqu'au bout.
I've still no idea what you just said. I mean,
Till the end.
till the end. There you go. So,
Gotta go at it.
is that album still available? Like, if somebody
Yeah,
was
yeah, you can-
musically adventurous, they could still go find that.
Yeah, you can still find it.
Okay, cool. See, I love artists like this that have really, really interesting, details about their life that usually lead to these little nuggets like that. Because I find that, for me anyway, I have listened to albums in languages I don't speak. And when you've got a really, really good and a really, really expressive songwriter, an artist, musicians, it doesn't really matter. It's like
Yeah.
I heard, I think it was a Nina Simone song a couple of months ago that I'd never heard before. It was her singing entirely in French. And I'd never heard that song before. And I had no idea what the words she was saying, but I completely understood.
Oh yeah.
The song is basically like "Don't Leave," I think is the name of the song, but it's French.
Yeah.
Right, and she sings the entire thing in French. So for me, I'm a music file. So for me, stuff like that, having that pop up just all of a sudden, and I'm hearing this, like, I know that voice. That's Nina Simone.
Yeah.
She's singing in French. I've never heard this, and I understand without understanding a word. I understand
Exactly. And we were talking about this in the car, where music is it's a conversation.
that.
It's the all the melody. It's like having a discussion, intonations. Where that's a question. Oh, this is an affirmation. So it's really what it is. It's communicating something to you. The instruments, the vocals, and what I was saying is sometimes you will write a song and you listen back and there's something's not working with the melody, what I'm singing, and it's because you're not respecting the intonations of what you are trying to say.
Yes, I've never heard it put quite like that, but I understand exactly. What you're talking about.
So when it is done right, it's like, okay, like Let It Be. the way he sings it.
Mhm.
You know, everything falls in place.
Mhm.
And, you know, like Edith Piaf, you know,
Mhm.
non, je n'ai rien, non, je ne regrette rien. You know,
Mhm.
it's like you don't know what she's saying, but you totally
I only
get
know
it. You totally get it.
I only know La Vie en Rose. That's the only Edith Piaf song I know.
But and you have something written in French on your arm.
Oh, I do. Yes, I do.
Exactly. I was like, oh.
Racontez-moi une histoire.
Yeah,
Just
tell me a story.
Yeah, tell me a story. That's because that's how I live my life. I love stories.
Yeah, me too.
And so and this tattoo is like, you can't really see it, but it says tell me a story in French. And I did that on purpose because I think French is a beautiful language to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a whole deeper thing that goes into it, but ultimately it's just like, this is my right hand. I meet you with my right hand, shake my hand, and it's like, hey, tell me a story or tell me your story.
Wow.
That's just kind of how I live my life. So yeah, you're like the first person to ever catch that.
Well, it's quite. I can read French.
Yeah, well then that probably
caught
most people probably just don't want to ask me what it means.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that translates correctly, because it could
Yes.
it could have meant something awful. I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't have talked about it. It was bad.
Our guest is Robby Johnson. The single is June. In July, if you want to hear it, please call us at Kicks 96. We will gladly play it for you. Robby, if you've got a whole bunch of new fans out there right now, where can they go on the internet to find more about you?
All right, so it's very easy. Robby Johnson Music. It's Robby, Robby Johnson Music. All my socials. That's pretty much the handle for all my social media. So very easy on the all digital platforms. Robby Johnson. They should see my face pretty quickly.
All right, the single is June and July. Find him online. Robby Johnson, thanks for visiting us here.
Thank you so much.
All right, look for a live performance from Robby elsewhere here on our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time on another artist video blog at Kicks96country.com.
They say you never forget your first time. So when I see that sun hanging up high, I think of June and July.